the first thing you need to know about the masculine and the feminine is that it's like yin and yang. They go hand in hand, right? Each one of them is required for the other to also be able to show itself, to be felt, to be of value. So every single human being has a masculine energy and has a feminine energy. However, for most of us, depending on how we identify, because of our gender identifications, etc., there's a it makes a huge influence on how we can show up in our relationships, and we show up one in probably more of a dominant or in the other. For example, me, I identify as being a male, and so I also identify with a much stronger masculine energy than maybe a feminine energy. Now this is really important because this conversation that I'm having, I know this is bringing up a lot of gender norms. A lot of you may not be into this. A lot of you may not identify with it, and that's okay. This is a conversation particularly for people who are curious about the polarity that they can experience in relationships, because a strong polarity between a masculine and a feminine can create very, very strong connection in relationships. It can improve the dynamic and sexual connection in relationships. It can improve how each of them show up. It improves how we show up as individuals. So what I like to think of the masculine and the feminine, right? And like I said, no one is more valuable than the other. This is so important to recognize, because in our society, a lot of the time, in our space, we've had to, through our conditioning, had to overvalue maybe masculinity, for example, or we've had to overvalue the patriarchy or any of that. That's all bullshit. That is basically how society has taken something and attempted to control and use people. And unfortunately, in the process, they've suppressed the expression of the feminine, which in countries or cultures where you see an equal expression is so fucking powerful. One of the most magnificent things I've come across in my life personally is realizing that as a man and my masculine, the more I'm in touch with my own masculinity, the more I'm in love with the feminine. So the more I want to support it, the more I want it to thrive, the more I want it to grow, instead of the opposite. So it is a wounded or a toxic masculine space that suppresses the feminine. Think about it from like shadow work. Think about it from the ego perspective. I can only harm someone when I'm insecure about something in myself that they're reminding me about, right? So if I'm trying to suppress maybe a woman's rights, even like right from the concept of like individual rights, women's rights, colored rights, etc., I'm insecure about them because I'm afraid I'm going to lose something. I'm afraid I'm not enough. That is what makes the wounded masculine. Super important for you guys to understand. Now, when you come into relationships, now I like to think that the masculine and the feminine are kind of like a flagpole and a flag. Whether you're American, you're Mexican, wherever. For those of you who tuned into my question yesterday about where I am right now, I am in Guadalajara, Mexico. So that's the answer to the poll I put out. But whatever country you identify, you've seen a flag. You've seen any flag wave. Now, what is at the end of a flag? A pole, right? If you think about the combination of the flag and the flag looks beautiful and it's waving in like, the sky, and it's showing, it's like, if you think about from the American angle, it's showing us like, these colors and these stripes, and they're so patriotic, and we're like, this is all it's all about. But a flag is nothing without something to hold on to. Without that, it just blows away in the wind. So the masculine and the feminine are kind of like a flag. The flag represents the feminine. It's beautiful, it's flowing, it's colorful, it's dynamic, it's expressive, it's energetic. But it needs the masculine, which is that pole, that structure, that stability, that security, the ability to hold it in place, the ability to support it, the ability to let it fly and let its wings soar, but still hold and be grounded for it, allowing it to know that there's a safe space available. And that's why, if you think of just the pole, right, without the flag, a pole is nothing. Who the fuck wants to sit and look at a pole for someone and be like, wow, that's really majestic? No, it isn't. So the combination of the flag and the pole are what make the beauty of that entire experience. And that is the masculine and the feminine. Take an example of a cup of water. That's another way I like to think about it, is that the water is what nourishes us. The water is what gives us this value. It's flowy, it's color, like, it takes the color of whatever, shape in it's in and around it, like reflects it, refracts it, all of that magic. But water without a cup would be worthless to us. It would be spilled, it would flow, it would dry up, it would be gone. We wouldn't be able to consume it, enjoy it, value it. And so a cup also, without water in it, is just an empty cup. What are you going to do with it? You have to pour something into it for it to be of value to you in that moment. So the masculine and the feminine for me are like the cup and the water. Both of them are tremendously important to the thriving of an experience, a moment, a personality, a relationship. Hey, and welcome to the Inner Yats YouTube page. If you like our content, make sure you click the like and the subscribe button so that you get more of these amazing videos that keep coming your way.